As students of Eindhoven University of Technology, we love having a challenge. But what if that challenge is to design and build a highly efficient, innovative house powered by solar energy? Where do you start? Well, actually, right here. We are Virtue, and we tackle energy transition by blending architectural design and engineering knowledge together with innovation, market potential, and building efficiency. So let's introduce you to our team. With a team of 45 students, all from different backgrounds, faculties, and nationalities, things can get a little
hectic?
Exciting. Our human resources and external relations team collectively ensures that the right people are at the right place at the right time, while our communications team ensures the visibility of Virtue.
So basically, we are building a house. Our architecture team comes up with an attractive design, and meanwhile, our building physics and systems team makes sure it's livable with all appliances. The urban team takes care of a green environment, and meanwhile, our structural team makes sure it's able to stand safely. Of course, sustainability is one of our key values. That's why our energy and sustainability team are constantly working to come up with new ways of improving energy efficiency. While the smart system team makes all the appliances interactive and user-friendly. Finally, we have an affordability and viability team that makes sure we can realize our project successfully. Meanwhile, our board makes sure we stick to the planning and don't go over budget. This is us. See you at the Solar Decathlon in Wuppertal.
Welcome to our final design reveal. We've been looking forward to this moment for so long, and now we can finally showcase to you the design that we've been working on for 1.5 years. I'm Marianna, and I'm the communication manager of Virtue and host of this event. And I'm standing here in Atlas together with Guido and Vandana, two great designers that will help me guiding you throughout our project in today's event. But first, let's have a look at the program for today. Unfortunately, we cannot be physically present today together. However, we wish that we can make this event as special as possible for you. So after I shortly introduce you to Virtue and the Solar Decathlon, as well as our vision, we're proud to present and host Theo Salet and Erwin Kerkhoff, who will give you insights into the university as well as its effort towards a sustainable environment. Then we get to the heart of this event, the final design reveal itself. Here, Guido, Vandana, and I will showcase what is our solution that we bring at the Solar Decathlon 2021. Finally, our partner, Jordis Hoffelen, will inspire you with a renovation project and then we will wrap up the event by showing you all the partners involved with Virtue. So as you could see in the introduction video, this is our team, Team Virtue. Virtue is a multidisciplinary student team at Eindhoven University of Technology. We started as a team in September 2019 to participate in the Solar Decathlon Europe 2021, with a team at that time only 14 students. And now here we are, with 45 students from 12 different nationalities in continuous growth. But we didn't start from scratch. Virtue was born first in 2016, when a group of ambitious students decided to take on a bigger challenge than just a student project at university. They decided to participate in the Solar Decathlon Middle East in 2018. And they did. They went to Dubai and they took the 6th place. And this inspired us to start on a new challenge. But what is this Solar Decathlon competition that we've been putting so much effort into? The Solar Decathlon is an international competition that challenges university teams from all over the world to design, build, and operate energy-efficient, innovative, solar-powered houses. It is the largest building competition in the world, and it takes place every year in a different city, in a different continent of the world. The goals of the Solar Decathlon don't restrain only into building energy efficient houses, but they go broader than this. The Solar Decathlon wants to stimulate research among students and among professionals. They want students and professionals, together with educational institutions, to collaborate. And finally, the Solar Decathlon aims to create awareness. But the most amazing aspect of the Solar Decathlon itself is the fact that students get to build their own design with all its details and complications. During the competition, we'll be building and living in a solar campus together with all the other competing teams, which creates a unique and special atmosphere. The reason why this competition is called Decathlon is because it embraces 10 different contests on which the teams are judged. These contests are very broad. They range from house functioning, energy performance, and comfort, all the way to less technical aspects such as affordability and viability, communication, education, and social awareness strategy of the team, and the innovation itself. This edition of the Solar Decathlon will happen in 2022, postponed from 2021 due to the pandemic, and it will take place in Wuppertal, Germany. But why Wuppertal? Wuppertal is a city that is in a way unique because of its very various demographics and the many initiatives. But on the other hand, it reflects a lot of issues that European cities have nowadays, such as densification. That's why we, as Virtue, take Wuppertal as a starting point to have an approach that can spread to different European cities later on. Wuppertal is placed in the rural area, as in a cultural and industrial heart. And within Wuppertal, we focus on the Mirke district, which is adjacent to the city center, as you can see here. And because the Solar Decathlon focuses on energy transition in urban contexts, we chose to focus on the specific situation of Mirke, Wuppertal. The challenge that we have to face is twofold. We first design a building extension, and then we take a piece of this design and we need to build it and perform at the competition itself. So our vision that brings us to join the Solar Decathlon competition and makes us work as a team is to support the transition to sustainable cities worldwide. But since this transition is very broad, and it's a very broad topic that we can't tackle just with a general approach, our mission is to encourage a sustainable mindset of people through the building industry. So, now that you heard what we stand for, it's worth hearing where we come from, what environment inspires us to make an impact. That's why, before we present the design itself, we invited two guests from TUE talking about the importance of challenge-based learning as well as sustainability in the vision of our university. I'll give the word to the Dean of the Built Environment Faculty, Theo Salette. From his home office, he'll tell you more about Eindhoven University of Technology.
Welcome to Eindhoven, and a warm welcome to Eindhoven University of Technology. It is a pleasure for me, as the Dean of the Department of the Built Environment, to give you an introduction to our university at the special day organized by Virtue. I think that every introduction of a university should start with an explanation of the city where it is located. Now, obviously, Eindhoven University is located in the city of Eindhoven, but that is part of the Brainport region. And the Brainport region is known for its new, innovative technological solutions. This is the place where innovation starts. I guess it is not enough to only describe Eindhoven as a city of technology. If we look at the old buildings of Philips, nowadays being occupied by young designers, we see that Eindhoven has become a nice mix of design and technology. And those of you that have visited over the past years the Dutch Design Week or the festival Glow, I guess you will know what I mean with this. And it has become a really nice place, not only for experts, but also for students at our university. If we go a little bit more in depth now on our university, I would have welcomed you at what we call a green campus, a green campus. A campus that is more or less a park in the city of Eindhoven. But unfortunately, that's not possible. If we look a little bit at the facts and figures to describe our university, we'll talk about 9 different departments that together make our university. A total number of approximately 13,000 students, and we are proud that we work with a very small student-to-staff ratio in the order of magnitude of 20. And that offers us the opportunity to give small-scale education on campus. Even after COVID, we would like to work with all the things that we learned on working via a screen like this. We will definitely go back to on-campus university to work together at the campus. I think we are also an inclusive community, not only from a gender perspective, but also from an international perspective. Approximately 25% of our students come from abroad. Not looking at the numbers only, but if we look behind the numbers, I guess that the word complex systems is really typical for us. We do realize that society has become more complex over time, and it is not possible to solve the issues that our society faces with only working from disciplinary knowledge. We need to work together and develop the skills to work together between the different departments to address the issues. You can also call it a more systemic kind of an approach. And an example of that approach are the new institutes that have been developed at our campus just recently. One, for instance, is EASY, the institute where the different departments work based on the disciplinary knowledge together, but learning together how to make use of what we call AI, artificial intelligence, and we do that together, that learning experience. Another initiative is the Institute IRIS, and that's the institute where we work on new energy systems, new sustainable energy systems and energy storage systems, also for our cities. So our department is strongly involved in that new institute as well. And a third and final initiative that I would like to mention to you is the strategic alliance that the university has developed together with the universities in Utrecht and Wageningen, working on issues like health and circularity. However, it is not only the new initiatives that mark the word complex, it's also the way we would like to educate our students. And the buzzword here is challenge-based learning. We would like to give the students a challenge, and based on the knowledge that they have gained already during their study, collaborating with other students with other knowledge, try to solve these issues, these challenges together. We have a strong belief that this way of educating students will help us and will help our students to become thought leaders in their field of interest. If we zoom in now on the lower level of a department, in particular, of course, the Department of the Built Environment, I think that you all agree with me that we are in the center of the large societal issues that we as humanity face. It's the energy transition, it's about sustainability, it's about mobility in our crowded cities or health, it's also about aging infrastructure or, just to mention, the lack of affordable housing for our future generation. But it's not only the challenges that our society faces, also our industry faces serious issues, to mention only 2, safety and a lack of construction productivity. Productivity is much smaller than the productivity of all the other industries and hasn't developed over the last decades that much. And with that, of course, comes the issue of affordable housing for our future generation. I think we have a unique opportunity to work on all these challenges, and for a simple reason. 65 years our university was developed. So this year we celebrate a lustrum year. And 65 years ago they did not, and I repeat, they did not develop a department of architecture and a department of civil engineering, but instead they developed a department of architecture with civil engineering. And that offers us the unique opportunity to develop a special profile. We can now work on societal issues from different perspectives, from the perspective of design or human-oriented research and high technological research. And if we bring these things together, we think we are really equipped to face the issues that we to challenge the issues that we face. And you can see that we do that, for instance, by working on an initiative that we call the Urban Development Initiative. That's an ecosystem where the municipalities in our region, with us as academia and industry, work together to solve these issues. But another good example of this are, of course, the student teams. These student teams are extraordinary projects. Some of them you already know, for instance, the car with the solar panels or a fully bio-based car. But there are also these student teams that work on our future living and on renewable energy. And of course, it is our students from the Department of Built Environment that contribute heavily to those student teams. These student teams provide a unique place for our talent to meet, to collaborate, to develop new important skills for that collaboration, and surprise us again and again with new innovative solutions. I think it's the best example that I can present to you of the idea of challenge-based learning. And that by our largest talents. I'm really proud of them, and I hope that you are able today to meet with them, that you will learn more about the student team of Virtue and discover the opportunities to collaborate together. Like we do in the Brainport area, working together not only for fun, but also because we know that each of us at the end will benefit from this. I hope you enjoy this day, and I really hope to meet soon in person at our campus again. Goodbye.
We thank Theo Salet for his great support. We proudly work in a university environment which is striving to implement various aspects of sustainability in the campus, from the buildings to the people. Erwin Kerkhoff, Sustainability Advisor of TUE, will tell you more about the TUE 2030 vision.
Hello, my name is Erwin Kerkhoff and I'm a Sustainability Advisor for the university. It's an honor for me to present to you what we do on sustainability in our business operations on campus. First of all, the university identified sustainability as one of the three major challenges for the future in our strategy 2030. So that means that we think sustainability is really important. And with the Go Green Office, we have a student initiative that brings sustainability to student life on campus. In business operations, we have 5 themes we use for sustainability. And those themes are social sustainability and vitality, abundant, clean and renewable energy, circular and restorative resources, smart and green mobility, and of course our green campus. Yeah, the first thing we work on is social sustainability and vitality. What we try to do is to have a vibrant campus and facilitate a healthy and an active lifestyle. Now, how we do that? We first of all, we try to have healthy buildings with using non-toxic materials. We try to have our staircases in the middle of the building, so we nudge people on exercising a little bit more during the day. Well, we try to offer healthy and sustainable food, at least as a choice in every canteen we have. And well, we try to offer opportunities for sports with the sports center and offer opportunities to exercise more during the day, like the staircases in the middle of the buildings, for example. But what we're going to do this year in 2021, we are going to make the work walk permanent, and the work walk is an initiative to have walking meetings, so people can go outside during a meeting instead of sitting in a meeting room. And of course, we have the annual Vitality Week, in where we aim for vitality a whole week long, and where we have different activities. The second theme we have is abundant, clean and renewable energy. And what we try to do is to generate as much energy on campus ourselves, If we have more, then we want to share it with other people, with other companies in the region. And how we do that? Well, we do have one of the biggest heat-cold systems of Europe. So almost all the buildings are hooked up to that already, and we aim to, in 2030, we hope to have to reduce the amount of gas we use by 90% compared to 2005. What we also try to do is install as much as PV as possible on our roofs, and we're going to come up with a plan to do that this year as well. So we try to gradually increase the amount of PV on all our roofs, and we are using the state-of-the-art technologies on lighting systems and ventilation systems, that are available. So the third theme we have is circular and restorative resources. And in 2030, we have the ambition that all the products and the materials used by the university are free from substances that harm people or the environment, and that we know exactly where all the products we use come from, and at the end know where they go to when we don't longer want to use them. So how do we do that? We try to have our real estate projects as circular as possible. For example, we demolished the pavilion building last year in a circular way, so we could reuse as much material as possible. And we have plans to construct a whole new building on campus, and that we aim to have that building being constructed in a circular way for 100%. What we also do is improving our waste separation system. We already have it, but we have found ways to improve it even better. So we're discussing that with our the party that collects the waste, and we're trying to improve that. And the third example is, the Go Green office introduced the reusable cups for festivals a couple of years ago. So instead of use single-use cups and have a lot of plastic rubbish at the end of a festival, well, you don't have any rubbish at all, and we can reuse the cups again. The fourth theme we have is smart and green mobility. By 2030, we aim to only have transport that is fossil fuel free and really efficient, and we facilitate green and smart mobility solutions for everyone connected to the university, but also connected to the own region. So how do we do that? We currently are making policy on foreign travel. A lot of scientists and a lot of students travel the world. We're actually making policy to somehow take the train more often, or at least reduce that a little bit. We're going to follow up on mobility as a service initiatives. For example, Amber cars we have on campus, but there's together with the city of Eindhoven, we are investigating more possibilities for that, and we are gradually increasing the number of EV charging stations on campus. So we are really gradually becoming more and more aware of mobility solutions that are more sustainable. The fifth and the last theme we have is the green campus. Our campus is in the middle of the city center, but it's really green, and we have a lot of biodiversity nice biodiversity, a lot of animals, a lot of flora, fauna. So that's something to be really proud of. We want to increase that even more than we have, so we try to swap paved terrain for green. We even want to increase or focus on native flora and fauna and biodiversity. We have plans to make a food forest near the new planned student housing where the pavilion was before. We want more green roofs and nature-inclusive buildings, so we give space to plants and animals in and around our buildings. And we are creating walking routes on campus to show what we've got, because that's maybe the most important one. We've got a lot of good things, but no one knows it, so that we try to communicate that in a better way. Student teams and living labs. Well, Team Virtue is going to build their house on our campus, and we try to facilitate initiatives like that because we try to have our students, with the start student teams and being think about sustainable measures. But we also give the opportunity to do that, to show other students and other visitors on campus, to inspire them with what is possible in the future. That's also why we have and try to have more living labs, and living labs are initiatives trying to have our scientific research being integrated in our business operations and have it as a test case. For example, the Atlas building, it has all these technologies in it, so we can actually do scientific research on the lighting system, for example, or on the window system. So, and that's something we want to increase in the next couple of years. So in the future, we might be that our campus is like an example of the world on how a sustainable city could or should look like. That's it. Thanks for your time, and congratulations with your design, and have a good day.
A big thank you to Erwin as well. We now got to the heart of this event, the thing we've been working on for 1.5 years, and now we will get to build it next summer. But let's start from the beginning. Why are we doing this? Well, climate change is definitely a topic of increasing relevance, gaining recognition in the lives of many. However, it is a complex subject, so it's often perceived as distant and invisible. Most of us, in a way, feel powerless towards climate change, even though we are aware of the environmental disasters and what causes them, especially if we compare our individual impact to the one of the big industries. We therefore see a barrier in embracing a sustainable lifestyle. But let me elaborate a little bit on this observation. We have conducted a survey with more than 500 participants that helped us understanding what this barrier is all about. Many respondents feel powerless and not responsible for climate change because companies and governments, in first place, are doing so little. In addition, many people associate sustainable lifestyle with discomfort and too much effort for too little gain. Finally, an important factor is that sustainable lifestyle is by definition perceived as more expensive. So, to many people, it seems a whole lot of effort for an invisible result. Yet, something as simple as taking the train to go to work instead of the car can save 3 times as much CO2 as installing solar panels. That's why Virtue believes in the huge potential of human actions, especially when combined with innovative technologies. On the other hand, the built environment is a key player in reaching global sustainability goals, primarily because buildings and construction are currently responsible for 39% of the CO2 emissions. So naturally, we feel like the impact of the built environment is beyond our control. However, studies showed that the people are greatly affected by their living environment. Designers of buildings and cities, therefore, have a great influence on human behavior. And although stakeholders of the built environment generally lack a sustainable mindset, they have the power to stimulate sustainable behavior through careful design. In the current situation, we recognize that we're stuck in a status quo, where the industry is not guiding the users to embrace a sustainable lifestyle. People, in turn, do not provide enough incentive back to the industry in order for them to change the design process and the final result. So what we realize is a destructive loop that we Virtue want to break by bringing in an integrated design approach to both sustainable building and living. So we propose an improved design solution for the built environment, stimulating a sustainable mindset in the process as well as in the result. More specifically, what do we want to achieve? First and foremost, we approach individuals and activate them to adopt an environmentally friendly mindset. But as individuals feel like they can't have enough impact if they're the only one changing their lifestyle, we want to normalize sustainable living by making it attractive, accessible, and based on collectivity. Finally, to make a change in the industry side, we propose a future-proof design approach for the built environment. We want the built environment to be more flexible by making it adaptable over time to future demands. So our solution is called Ripple, and it's inspired by the ripple effect. In fact, like a drop in the water, our project creates a ripple of influence. Starting from an ambitious transformation in Wuppertal, we aim to spread our approach to different places around Europe and around the world. By showing that urban areas influence eco-friendly lifestyle and people, we hope to set an example for the new norm. So we want to bring in a way of thinking rather than a fixed design. But now Vandana will dive more into the life of our user in our design.
As designers, however, the starting point is to identify our users, or the target group. So Ripple aims to create a living community for students like us and young professionals who are aware of environmental challenges and are looking for ways to transition to a more sustainable lifestyle. The current average footprint of our target user has been identified as being around 46 kilograms of CO2 equivalent per day, and this is something that we want to reduce with our design. So we as designers have the responsibility of not only creating an environmentally friendly construction, but we also hold the responsibility to create a welcoming environment for the users and to stimulate their lifestyles to spread what we start with the design. But how do we do this? We do this through 3 design principles. We activate our users to enhance the positive impacts of our adaptive structure by making a sustainable lifestyle attractive. It all starts with a modular unit. A slightly different one from the ordinary square shape, this space is just enough for the user to sleep in. So attached to this is the bathroom unit. Since this is the space that the user will be spending the least amount of time in, we took the freedom to make this as small as possible, therefore increasing the available living space for the user. This bedroom opens up to the kitchen and the living room. There is also a technical room with the smart systems and other building system controls. The kitchen and bathrooms are all connected to this. This whole setup of this apartment is mirrored on the other side to create the second apartment and the other half of the technical core. The 2 apartments are connected with a communal space where the 2 neighbors can interact and use shared appliances, or where one neighbor can have some extra space in case he has company over. The resulting apartment program is as such. The fixed technical core is in the center, and around this, the different functions are arranged. The apartments are meant for starters or students. To meet our goals for creating an adaptive design, the spaces in our design are governed by 3 principles: fixed, flexible, and free. This reflected on multiple levels in the design, on the interior as well as the structure and the systems. This is a view into one of our apartments. By identifying fixed elements and maximizing the amount of flexible and free elements in the space, we make tiny living as comfortable and attractive as possible to the user. The main focus is on the flexible elements, especially on the interior scale. We identified that the kitchenette and bathroom are possible flexible elements in the building, so that's exactly what we did. The kitchenette and bathroom are like fingers attached to the core. So in the case of a renovation, they can be easily removed, upgraded, and replaced instead of demolishing and rebuilding. Here you can see the kitchenette module on the left. On a smaller scale, it is also possible to have flexible furniture, and we do this by having a flexible bed that can be folded, and this increases the available floor space during the day. I will now hand it over to Hiro, who will explain the fixed, flexible, free concept on a bigger scale.
So it's possible to make the apartment flexible and free by having a fixed core that contains all of the technical systems. In order to maximize installation ease and minimize service work, all the installations are centered in the core. We all like a comfortable temperature to dwell in. That's why we use floor heating. Heated by a modulating heat pump with low temperature, we achieve both heating as cooling with low and efficient energy usage. The balanced ventilation system that recovers heat is slightly overdimensioned, so that CO2 levels will be kept to the minimum. Furthermore, for the supply of hot water for showering and washing, it will be done without having to worry about being too consuming, as the solar boiler will be sufficient for most of the year, and the special modulating heat pump can get to a high temperature quite efficiently. This visualization illustrates a daytime scenario where we use phase change materials to add thermal mass. Think of the big churches on holiday that stay cool. The big amount of stone can store thermal energy. Instead of a lot of stone, we are building in timber, so we use salts that can relatively store a lot of heat or cold. So during the day, they absorb the excess heat, while simultaneously the shutters, they keep the building cool by blocking the sun. While at night, the house is ventilated in a natural way, and the heat stored in the phase change materials is given to the outside, so that they are ready to absorb the heat of the next day. The biggest energy consumption in the building is the supply of hot water for the appliances such as the shower, dishwasher, and washing machine. We are trying to reduce this energy consumption as much as possible by implementing a solar boiler, but also a heat recovery system in our showers. 1 kilowatt hours of electricity is roughly 1.5 kilogram of CO2 equivalent in the Netherlands. If we calculate this through, your total consumption will drop with almost 9 kilograms of CO2 equivalent per day, just for energy. That's quite something. Okay, but that's for the systems. As you might have noticed, the floor plan does not follow a regular shape with perpendicular sides. We made a trade-off between diversity and affordability and found this intermediate shape, the tessellation. It's designed in such a way that it can be replicated and rotated to form a whole building. This design solution gives residents the opportunity to use many communal spaces that substitute the commonplace long corridors in apartment blocks in order to enhance social interaction. This concept is extended to the roof plan that shows a similar plan as the interior. Part of our concept is to share the city with the birds and insects whose territory it was before we humans came along. We start this by sharing our rooftop with them, choosing the right plants to attract the right species. In addition to the social spaces and the biodiversity, there's also room for communal farming, where residents can cultivate their own vegetables and fruits. This creates a healthy and attractive living environment. But to allow for this space on the roof for interaction and biodiversity, the solar panels are placed on the facade. And this integrated design is perfectly embodied here. The solar panels ensure energy production, while the cavities are used to create a habitat for the birds. The facade is then finished with reused timber from a TU campus building that has been demolished. Each unit has a solar belt that wraps around the building, optimized according to the path of the sun. And extending this to the whole building design, the dynamic character of the facade, together with changing shutters, have an identity that expresses the idea of change. The facade of the existing building below is kept mostly intact and as original as possible, but it opens towards the street to create more light space on the inside of the building.
Coming back to the loop that we talked of before, the most effective way to break it is by directly involving people to participate in the changes that is introduced by the design. So we can have a super sustainable house, but it's pointless if the user leaves the heating on high all day. So the idea of a sustainable house is itself unsustainable if the people living in it do not live with a corresponding mindset. So how do we do this in our building? Our way of solving this is by using a smart recommender system to create a bridge between the efforts of the building systems and the user's lifestyle habits. One clear aspect in which we do this is with respect to the energy systems. Since this is a solar power house, there is a clear difference between when there's peak energy production, which is around midday, and when there's a peak in energy demand, which is usually towards the evening. Energy storage is always an option, but the aim is to bridge this gap by timing the use of appliances right. But how does the user know when the optimal time is to switch on their dishwasher or to use the washing machine? This is where the smart systems come in. To facilitate a more efficient operation and to bring these two curves closer together, we implement a building system that is connected to the various parts of the house, called AQI. AQI is a tool that enables residents to reduce and balance their energy consumption by scheduling appliances, visualizing energy data, and encouraging shared use. The idea is that the house provides the residents with a series of challenges every day, aimed at improving their living to be more sustainable. So each time a goal has been reached, it pays back with a digital coin system called Ekkies. And there's no better incentive than social involvement. And so we create a world called Ecotopia, where the inhabitants can use their earned Ekkies to buy animals or improve other parts of their world. Users can visit each other's ecotopias, which adds a little bit of competitiveness that helps keep their sustainable lifestyle interesting. However, it is important to go back to the fact that all of this is happening within the context of the Solar Decathlon. In SDE 21, the theme is going urban. So it is about setting the goal of energy transition in the built environment into existing urban contexts. So our challenge is to work with the existing building stock by renovating or extending an existing building in an existing urban context, while still aiming for increased resource efficiency, sufficiency, and also a circular economy. In this context, Café Ada is our starting point for Ripple in Wuppertal. Since this is already a dynamic, active location in the city, we see the potential to make it a catalyst for sustainable change. After the implementation of Ripple, this is what we envision the site to look like. But for this to happen, and for our Ripple to expand, first a renovation of the existing situation is needed.
So, the first step in the renovation of Café Ada is to remove its roof. This reveals the existing interior of the multifunctional hall, which is a very important cultural hub for the Mirke district of Wuppertal. As this function is so important for the building, it's preserved as much as possible and strengthened due to a proper renovation of the building. A transfer structure is then made in place that will carry the load of the extension. The transfer structure can be seen as a type of table on which all kinds of different building configurations can be placed. Finally, the building volume of the extension is added and connected through a vertical street with the urban square behind it. At ground floor, we create a soft boundary between urban and building. The share shop is a good example of this. Here, people from the building and the neighborhood find common ground by sharing knowledge, workspace, and tools, for instance, to repair stuff. And here you can clearly see how public functions in the renovated building work together with a new living on top. So this is our drop that serves as a catalyst of sustainable change to the rest of the city. And so we have identified various possible locations for similar extensions around the city. And we expand this ripple by expanding our definition of users to include the citizens of Wuppertal and not just the residents of our building. Furthermore, streets are made more pedestrian friendly to promote soft mobility, but we can't completely get rid of cars. So we introduce a new mobility concept. Currently, the Mirke quarter looks like this. Very car-oriented, a lot of one-way streets, parking lots, and only a few charging stations and car sharing spaces. The new situation, however, where we have now made the two most important axes of the neighborhood pedestrian and bicycle oriented. Over time, these pedestrian bicycle oriented roads could be expanded throughout the whole neighborhood and the rest of Wuppertal. We realize, however, that the existing cars will not suddenly disappear. The inhabitants of Mirke first have to be encouraged to try other possibilities. So in order to create space to make the new streets, the cars, they have to be displaced. For this, we came up with the concept of mobility hubs, which are the black dots that you can see in the screen. The mobility hubs offer parking spaces for cars and bikes, but also various mobility modes that can be shared, such as electric cars, cargo bikes, e-scooters, and all for a profitable price. The mobility hubs are located close to public transport in order to make the transition as smooth as possible, all in order to decrease of the private car use. Next to the mobility function, the mobility hubs also have other functionalities. On the roof of the mobility hubs, there's space for urban farming and leisure activities, such as sports and picnics. But there's more. Space for local initiatives, free for the neighborhood to share, and there's a package pickup point, for instance, as well. So you can just easily pick them up when you are returning from home, when you're returning home from work via the mobility hub, while all being built in a modular way to adapt to future changes. Because the mobility hubs are relatively evenly spread throughout the neighborhood, they play a big role in our urban energy concept. The hubs act as a distribution and storage point for the heat and electricity network. First, the heat network. We want to harvest heat from the neighborhood sewage system. This is done in the wastewater treatment plant, and then directed to the thermal storages in the hubs. In addition, the hub has a ground source heat pump to supplement the heat demand. For the electricity, we generate electricity through PV panels on buildings in the whole neighborhood. Then the excess electricity is then stored in the batteries of the hubs and eventually distributed to the surrounding buildings. There, the electrical cars are used as additional batteries to balance the energy demand and supply. These mobility solutions together bring your footprint down with another 9 kilograms per day. That's quite something. But on top of implementing innovative solutions to the building and urban environment, we aim for the user to expand their sustainable habits. So doing small things like learning how to use heating efficiently or reducing car size, maybe eating vegetarian or limiting your food waste, next to buying half clothes secondhand, showering for less than 5 minutes, all those things save an extra 4 kilograms of CO2 per day. And that almost halves our footprint already.
So this is Wuppertal as it looks currently, and this is our building concept. Part of sustainability is to have a concept that contributes to society that is part of. So the concept of Ripple aims to create a renewed, attractive identity for Wuppertal that will adapt to the changing times with its active citizens. We do this by proposing more similar extensions across the city and also introducing mobility hubs that serve as activity centers for the residents. The colorful art route and green-lined streets guide the pedestrians through the neighborhood to Café Ada. And finally, we identify locations where we can create green courtyards and implement an urban farming concept where currently empty backyards and rooftops are used for small-scale local food production. Going back to the concept of Ripple, we see this proposal working for not only Wuppertal, but other European cities as well. And what better city to start with than our home city, Eindhoven? Eindhoven, despite being very different from Wuppertal in terms of housing typologies and even architecture, has a lot of flat roofs that can be used for extensions. So Ripple offers a perfect solution for urbanization, as the modular system allows different configurations with the same building elements to fit various contexts. So currently we're working on a proposal to implement our design in Eindhoven. Ultimately though, Wuppertal and Eindhoven are stepping stones on our way to spreading the change to other Northern European cities. As we reach more people, the general mindset of people will change, and the industry will be influenced to notice their responsibility as well. And together, we can make sustainable living fun and easy for everyone, everywhere.
So, this is Ripple, what we've worked on for so long and what we believe in. But how do we, as Virtue, actually start the change? Our first action to start a Ripple is building and operating a demonstration unit for our design at the Solar Decathlon competition. Here, we will showcase our solution to a jury and to a huge public, together with the other competing teams. And what we physically built is a house demonstration unit, a piece, a Lego block almost, of the whole building. And this is the prototype in which our design is realized, and our solutions are measured and judged by experts. And of course, because it's a solar decathlon, the energy balance of the building is an essential focus point. Our house will be energy positive because the energy production will overcome the energy consumption. Now, are you curious to see how it will look like? Here it is. We reproduce one unit of our building in which we showed during the presentation as a standalone building. The solar integration in the facade will be an essential eye-catcher for the visitors. And those of you who know INTU Eindhoven campus might recognize this, and you will be able to see standing there at the end of the summer. We're test building the house this summer in the TUI campus, and we're trying in the demonstration unit to implement all the aspects of the design, not only the one of the unit, but also the ones of the building, such as the space for biodiversity and the elements such as urban farming. So with the beginning of 2021, we entered a completely new phase in which the building is detailed in every centimeter and all the products are ordered from the production partners to get the house ready to be built, because we will be test building in June and July 2021, as I said. And finally, we'll have a grand opening in October, to which you're all invited to come and see our final product. So as we approach the end of this event, we asked one last guest speaker, Jordi Schoffelen, project manager of Young & Bouw Partners, who is closely involved in our project, to give a talk about a circular renovation project he's working on. I hope he'll inspire you.
Mijn naam is Jordi Schoffelen. Ik werk bij bouwbedrijf Jongen. En ik ben projectmanager van het project Superlocal. Superlocal is het eerste project waar wij met circulair bouwen en reuse van materialen in aanraking zijn gekomen. Het is een project in de Kerkraadse wijk Blijerheide. Ooit stonden daar 4 hoogbouwflats. Flats die in de jaren 60 gebouwd zijn. Die toen heel erg in trek waren bij iedereen. Je hebt er een prachtig uitzicht over de Eifel. Maar in de loop van de tijd zijn die flats langzaam maar zeker in staat van verval geraakt. En de corporatie Hemonen, die 4 hoogbouwflats in bezit heeft, die kwam eigenlijk voor het dilemma te staan wat te doen. En het normale scenario zijn alles slopen en opnieuw beginnen. Maar Superlocal is uiteindelijk een nieuw voorbeeld geworden van hoe je ook met gebiedsontwikkeling om zou kunnen gaan. En waar we in plaats van te slopen, zijn we eigenlijk begonnen om alle waarden van het gebied in kaart te brengen. Zowel op sociaal-maatschappelijk, op economisch vlak, maar ook op technisch vlak, dus ook op het gebied van materialen. En hetgeen wat we ons al vroeg in het traject tot doel hebben gesteld, is om alles wat in het gebied aanwezig is, wat waarde heeft, kwaliteit heeft, om dat te gaan hergebruiken in de ontwikkeling van nieuwe woningen. In totaal, toen wij eraan begonnen, waren er nog 3 van die 4 flats overeind. Ik zeg altijd, ze waren ooit heel creatief met het bedenken van die naam. Die flats heten flat A, B en C. Die waren ook eens een keer genummerd, dus mensen woonden werkelijk in cel, noemden ze het ook nog een keer A101. Dus dat is op zich wel mooi. En toen wij eraan begonnen hadden we een enorm materialenpaspoort, maar uiteindelijk kwam het erop neer dat die flat in hoofdlijnen uit 2 dingen bestaan, uit beton en uit asbest. En alle andere materialen zitten eigenlijk met de asbest en de beton vast. Dus al snel werd voor ons duidelijk dat dit een project zou zijn waar het zou draaien om het hergebruik van beton. Dat is eigenlijk de kern van het project. En wij zijn samen met sloopbedrijf Düsseldorf zijn wij geselecteerd door de corporatie en nog een aantal partijen om aan dit project te beginnen. Al heel vroeg in het project, al vanaf de visievorming, hebben wij ideeën en de manier van organiseren geïntroduceerd. En zijn wij partij geworden om die gebiedsontwikkeling te gaan doen. De kern van het project bestaat eruit dat we in een aantal stappen met elkaar zijn gaan proberen om die experimenten, die dus met name om het hergebruik van beton zou gaan, om die te gaan ontwikkelen. En we zijn in eerste instantie gaan kijken hoe dat zou kunnen. Nou, wij als bouwer hadden allemaal wilde plannen hoe dat te gaan doen. Allemaal kleine dingetjes eruit zagen, nieuwe elementjes ervan maken. Nou, we hadden de meest wilde plannen, hadden heel die flat al geanalyseerd. En toen kwam het sloopbedrijf met het lumineuze idee: jongens, wat doen jullie nou moeilijk? Zaag er gewoon een 2-kapper uit, til die op, zet hem op de grond en we hebben weer een woning. Nou, dat vonden we eigenlijk wel spannend klinken, dus dat zijn we gaan doen, zij het in iets bescheidenere vorm. Dus we zijn in die eerste fase hebben we appartementsdelen gaan uitzagen. En die zijn we gaan combineren dat we later het expogebouw zijn gaan noemen. Het expogebouw was voor ons volledig een technische test. Om te kijken met als doel, hoe ver kun je nou komen als je alleen maar materiaal wil gebruiken dat uit die flat komt. En voor de rest geen materiaal toevoegt. Dus alleen maar datgene wat we voorhanden hebben gebruiken. Dat is ook een beetje een onzinnige opgave, omdat dat zouden we natuurlijk nooit in een reguliere woningbouw gaan doorstapelen. Maar we hadden het wel nodig om te onderzoeken om vanuit extreme, net zoals in een project als dit, als Virtue, hoe ver kun je nou komen als je een keer helemaal extreem gaat denken. En door dat te doen zijn we ook gewoon erachter gekomen dat je meer nieuwe wegen als het ware ontwaart in die brei die je nog niet kende. Dus op het moment dat je begint aan iets en dingen daadwerkelijk gaat realiseren, dan vind je in één keer nieuwe oplossingen. Maar dan komen ook andere partijen in één keer om de hoek kijken, omdat die het interessant vinden dat wij aan het doen zijn. Dus zo gauw wij dat eerste deelproject, het expogebouw, gerealiseerd hadden, kwamen niet alleen een hele hoop marktpartijen erop af om te zien van wauw, wat gebeurt er hier? Hè? Interessant, we willen eigenlijk ook wel er iets aan bijdragen. Maar er kwam ook financiering op gang. We kregen een Europese subsidie. En konden op die manier de tweede fase van het project, waarbij we eigenlijk wat we geleerd hadden wilden doorvertalen naar wel bewoonbare woningen. Het expogebouw was technisch wel een gelukt experiment, maar niet iets wat we konden doorvertalen. Wat we nu willen doen is kijken hoe ver kunnen we komen als we daadwerkelijk een bewoonbare woning willen maken, maar ook weer met zoveel mogelijk hergebruik van materiaal. Dat is het tweede deelproject geworden. We hebben 3 woningen gerealiseerd die voor, laten we zeggen, 70-80% uit hergebruik van materiaal bestaan. Daar hebben we ook meerdere betontechnieken ontwikkeld. Een van de technieken die we daar hebben geprobeerd naast het uitzagen van appartementsdelen is ook beton van betongranulaat maken. En dat heeft eigenlijk heel veel voor ons in werking gezet, want dat was ons achterliggende doel als bedrijf altijd. Natuurlijk zijn dit leuke projecten, maar we wilden vooral iets leren voor de reguliere bouwpraktijk. Hoe kunnen we nou met de opgaven die we in Nederland hebben, met enorme woningbouwopgaven, hoe kunnen we nou iets maken vanuit bestaand materiaal of zodanig maken dat we steeds weer materiaal kunnen hergebruiken. Heel vaak kom je dan op materiaal als hout of staal uit. Maar wij waren eigenlijk al benieuwd, zeker omdat wij ook vaak in een werkgebied zitten waar eigenlijk al te veel is. We hebben te veel kantoren, te veel bestaande gebouwen. Wij waren eigenlijk al benieuwd wat zou je kunnen doen met dat bestaande materiaal. Ja, en in dat tweede deelproject hebben we uitgevonden dat we daadwerkelijk dat bestaande beton opnieuw kunnen gebruiken. Dat we eigenlijk maar heel weinig nieuw materiaal hoeven toe te voegen. Dus zo, ja, dat is een beetje het champagne-moment voor ons in dat project. Per ongeluk hadden we ontdekt dat we opnieuw beton konden maken. En die technieken zijn we eigenlijk verder gaan doorontwikkelen. Die hebben we toegepast in de 3 woningen. Maar later ook in een van onze eigen bouwconcepten, pluswonen. Pluswonen is een concept dat wij binnen ons bedrijf gebruiken om woningen mee te ontwikkelen en te bouwen. Het bestaat uit prefab betonnen casco's. Dus wij hadden meteen al de link om te kijken, dat is interessant. Wat kunnen we vanuit deze experimenten leren voor onze reguliere praktijk? En vanuit die experimenten vonden we eigenlijk ook al de sleutel om partijen aan ons te binden. Want die zagen niet in één keer dat dat een wild plan van ons was, maar dat er daadwerkelijk woningen op die manier gemaakt werden. Dat betekent dus ook dat als je niet meedoet, dat vanzelf je concurrentie als het ware groeit. Die nieuwe concurrentie die er vroeger nog niet was. Dus de partijen waar wij al jaren mee samenwerkten, die waren in één keer ook geïnteresseerd om met ons samen dit te gaan doorontwikkelen. Nou, in de laatste, of de voorlopig laatste fase, de 3e fase van het project, hebben we datgene wat we bij die eerste 2 experimenten hebben geleerd, hebben toegepast in ons concept, in pluswonen. En samen met een aantal andere circulaire materialen hebben we op die manier een circulaire variant van pluswonen ontwikkeld en ook gerealiseerd binnen het project. En dat vind ik als projectmanager van dat project wel heel erg mooi. Want op die manier is voor ons ook wel de cirkel redelijk rondgekomen. We hebben zeg maar in een aantal fases experimenten uitgevoerd, maar uiteindelijk kunnen we het doorvertalen naar onze eigen praktijk, naar een product wat we overal kunnen toepassen. En daar ligt voor mij ook wel de link naar dit project, naar Virtue, omdat je hier nieuwe dingen probeert waarvan we allemaal iets kunnen leren, wat daardoor ook weer naar de reguliere bouwpraktijk doorvertaald zal worden. Dat vinden wij interessant natuurlijk als bedrijf, daarom steunen wij dat ook van harte. Maar je ziet ook gewoon dat wij als bouwindustrie, waar wij jarenlang redelijk naar onszelf hebben gekeken en vooral met het minimale van het minimale aan het werken waren, langzaam maar zeker die transitie maken naar maar wat kunnen we nou aan waarde toevoegen zodat iedereen in een nog fijnere leefomgeving komt te wonen. En daarom vinden we dit soort initiatieven zo mooi, want ook hier kunnen wij weer iets van leren voor onze reguliere praktijk.
So a huge thanks also to our last speakers for today's event, Jordi. Young & Bouw Partners is together with Stam de Koning, our construction partner that is giving us great support throughout the project. But we won't end our event without mentioning an essential aspect of our work as a student team, the collaboration with our partners. The design you saw today would have been not possible without the experienced support of many professional parties involved with the project. It is even an essential aspect of the Solar Decathlon itself to collaborate with professionals and bring the project from a concept to a real standing building. A first important partner is, of course, our university, which supports us with knowledge through professor coaches, gives us space to work as a team, and finally, lets us build and test our house in the campus. Our construction partners, Stam de Koning and Young & Bouw Partners that I just mentioned, support our team with construction management and practical experience. They followed closely our design process, and they will be with us during test building and at the competition itself. Throughout the whole project, the practical advice of many advisory partners is precious for us. The management team is supported by experts in project management to overcome all the difficulties in planning, budget management, etc. We're also advised by high quality firms about our design itself to find the best solutions together, from the architecture to the engineering to the calculations. And now that the house needs to be physically built, many production partners contribute to the project with their products, fitting our goals. It is a collaborative design process that makes the project more real than ever. They provide components for every piece of our building, from the building envelope to the exterior and the interior parts. But our building needs to perfectly function and perform efficiently to win the competition. And that's why we count on the help of technical partners. They provide technical products to make our innovations real. And since we need to demount our house, transport it to Wuppertal, and build it again there for the competition in only 2 weeks, a trustworthy transport partner is quite essential. Last but not least, within our subsidy program, we share knowledge about innovation in the built environment, and together we seek for solutions while creating awareness. So, all in all, we're involved with 51 professional parties, of which 33 are producers, 18 are consultants, and 12 are professor coaches. We're beyond thankful for their support, and we're happy to meet them today after this live stream. We hope to have the opportunities of networking in real life soon, as their engagement is very precious for us. Thank you all for attending this final design reveal. We hope you had fun, you enjoyed watching, and you understood our story. We also hope that you're going to stay engaged with us until the house is standing in October and all the way until the competition. We really hope you enjoyed this event because we loved hosting it. So see you soon, stay safe, and have a good day.